take the pick. Yeah, I can catch a fish. Well, I called in sick and wet a line. My boss done had it for the last time. I grab a jig and I give it a pitch. I can't go to work, no way. But I can catch a fish, reel it on up, put 'em in the live well for later when I'm done. I can throw a spinner or I can throw a crank, impressing all the girls while they're tanning on the bank. Grab a little hook, bait a night crawler, hold on a second, something's pecking at my bobber. Hook set in the lip, makes me wanna take a dip. Have your buddy take the pick, yeah, I can catch a fish. I don't know what you wanna do, but if you got some plastic worms and a pinch of chew, meet me at the lake where I caught that 8. Okay, fine, maybe it was fake, but I can catch a fish, reel it on in, take a little selfie to show all of my friends. I can throw a spinner, or I can throw a crank, impressing all the girls while they're tanning on the bank. Grab a little hook, bait a night crawler, hold on a second, something's pecking at my bobber. Hook set in the lip, makes me wanna take a dip. Have your buddy take the pick, yeah, I can catch a fish. Oh, dude, I think I got one. Oh man, it's just a snack. I think I got a snack. It's a tree pounder, man. I can catch a fish. I can catch a fish.
Welcome to Hendrix Fishing, home of the Hendrix Fishing Box and Hendrix Fishing Splash Pack, jam-packed with baits from small businesses across the U.S. While you're here, make sure to check out one of the best up-and-coming bait companies, Third Eye Fishing, home of the Samurai Swimmer and Nico Croc. They also offer some of the great custom tackle to go with it, and even some of the best gear to wear while out on the water. Now, talking about being out on the water, make sure you pick up some line from Beyond Braid. It's going to be the smoothest braid money can buy. And while you're here, make sure you use code FISHTALK10 and save 10%. Check out the hottest new company in the bass fishing industry, Third Eye Fishing. Since debuting their first product in April of last year, Third Eye Fishing has released several innovative baits, including the Dojo Worm, available in 3 different sizes, a finesse craw designed specifically for the Nico rig, and a swim bait called the Samurai Swimmer with a one-of-a-kind sword tail, plus much more. All Third Eye baits are custom designed and made right here in the USA. And guys, make sure to check them out on social media, Third Eye Fishing and thirdeyefishing.com. While you're there, use code FISHTALK15 for 15% off your first purchase. Trust me guys, try Third Eye baits and you will see the difference. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Part-time Fisher here, and as always, I've got Jeremy, Real Custom Art, right next to me. I'm finally figuring out which direction to point. It's amazing. And Jeremy, it looks like you got your nephew with us again?
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yes, he says. I don't find that a bad deal. It's good that he gets in, has fun. Hopefully he's learning some stuff. I'll say he joined.
He did some research. He did some research
Ooh, did some research tonight. Okay, so we'll have to cut to the little man for a question then here. But like always, guys, welcome back. We're glad to have you. Hopefully, you guys are having a great week. Real quick, I wanted to pull up. Jeremy had the opportunity. He got out fishing this weekend. I did myself. We didn't fish together though. He got up moving early. I was asleep. I'll admit it. But I got out and I was using some baits from our guest here today, DNK. I was using the grubs and the Jig Head, and actually was able to get on a couple pike. Unfortunately, when I got the pike up to the shore, well, you always got to double check where the line is. I got a little too hasty and it bit through the line before I could grab it. But I'm going to pop up on screen. Jeremy here Jeremy, tell us what you. Well, first off, tell us what you caught this monster on. I'm gonna get pulled up here. Maybe add this over. What did you catch this absolute tank on?
It was just a red craw, lipless. There's a lot of grass and moss in this lake. Half the lake was still covered in ice, so I just let it drop down to the very bottom, cast as far as I could, and just real slow retrieve and just popped it every once in a while. And either I caught a bunch of grass and moss, or I snagged a fish like that, and it was like dead weight coming in. So I thought I snagged a branch, and he was on there, or she was on there. And then right after that, a couple casts later, I got a 3-pounder to follow up. So it was a good day. I just gotta keep your ice gear out too. Yep. Do it.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, DNK really was a way for me to honor my grandfather. So he passed away, and it kind of got encouraged to start getting into the bait making um, process or whatever. And it was a way for me to kind of respect him and kind of do something for him. He's the one that got me into fishing when I was a kid. So I wanted to do something in kind of his honor. And that was one of the ways I was able to do that.
I'm gonna let this guy do it.
So when did or how did Hendrix or no?
How did your grandfather get you into fishing? He read online that making some baits with him
Yeah,
when you're younger.
yeah, absolutely. So it started with my grandfather. He had a farm, and on the farm he had a pond. And I just remember being obsessed with wanting to go fish on that pond, and didn't always get to do that. You know, he's farming, he has the bale hay and do things like that, and those things came first. So those opportunities I got really fed that need and that want to fish, and it bloomed from there. It went to some of our local lakes and our rivers and stuff like that. And then when I got to an age where I was old enough, he started to teach me to tie deer tail jigs. And that's something that's, stuck with me ever since. And we pretty much single-handedly my entire life, that's all we exclusively really fished with was deer tail jigs, on the lake and our river here. So that's really where this started.
Now, deer tail jigs are kind of exciting to me. So I'm not just using deer tail, but Jeremy knows last year we like throwing a bunch of MEPs. And they have kind of their squirt. They use the squirrel hair, but same style, that bucktail style kind of jig. And I haven't had luck yet, but any tips on how to fish one of those? Because maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, they're really good for fishing bottom. So I have a lot of success in the river, and just knowing what kind of speed you're dealing with in current, in the depth really affects what you want to do for presentation and weight. But it's really effective for multi-species. We catch muskies and northerns or walleye, smallmouth, trout. Really versatile, and we have in our fishery here we have a wide range of species, so it's very versatile and works really well. So typically something that you'd fish toward the bottom, you're going to lose them a lot. Doing that, that's where I'm exclusively really fish a lot for walleye. That's what my grandfather was passionate about. So walleyes, they're in the rocks, they're in the logs, they're hiding in structure. So you're going to lose them. So that's where tying your own, it's a little bit cheaper than going to the store and paying $3 a piece or whatever for them. So plus you can get creative. You can do a lot of different colors and patterns, and he hand painted everything when he was doing them. So you get a little creative with it and just see what happens.
Are you still making those type of lures along with everything else you're doing?
Yeah, I'm making them for a local bait shop here in town, and that's kind of where it all started. Place opened up. They were looking for anybody that was, making some things, and I talked to the guy, and it started with the deer tail jigs, and they were moving a little bit, but it's more of an old school tactic. A lot of the younger guys are into the plastics and things like that. They don't really know much about the deer tail jigs and how to fish them and things like that. So he's like, "Hey, could you make plastics?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'll look into it." And that's where the company started to do something. I got online and looked around and started to self-teach myself. So
Very nice. Yeah, I was kind of browsing through your site a little bit just because I fell in love with the grubs that were in the Hendrix fishing box and some of the stuff, and noticed you not only do some open water stuff, but it looks like you started dabbling a little bit in a little bit of the frozen water stuff as well.
yeah, the local guy Ray, he's like, "Hey, you think you could do this?" And I looked around for a long time trying to find a mold, and I couldn't find one. And then I ran into a guy that had one, and he would only sell the bait. So I was able to get those off of him and turn them into these little jigging spoons with the eyes on them and stuff. And they've only been available for a few weeks now, but he's had pretty good feedback with them. They've sold really well. They've been fishing really well on our local lakes through the ice. A lot of guys are fishing perch for them, catching some pike here and there as well. But yeah, little mixed bag.
Yeah, I saw those and I'm like, oh, of course I saw them just too late. But that might be something I have to place an order for just because I've heard guys taking those and using them for their tip ups, throwing a minnow on it and stuff, and then just having that eye sitting there flashing with that minnow swimming around. I heard has helped immensely. So,
Absolutely.
but I know Jeremy's got his other favorite question to ask you because he likes asking everybody this question since I had to put him under the spotlight and talk about his big catch for the week. But so what you got, Jeremy?
Well, what do you like to fish for? Like, what do you like to fish for, and what's your PB in that with that fish? We'll go that.
I always grew up worrying about length. I guess I never really worried about weight, but I'd say one of my favorite catches was probably a 30.5-inch walleye. Some of the local fisheries, that's pretty impressive size. You go to Lake Erie, a couple hours away. That's not as it's a little more common. That 10-pound category or higher. It's a pretty good catch. So for me, that was something that I always had a benchmark for. We have some smallmouth that get into the low 20-inch range. I don't really know much about weight, but that's something that I'm gonna start looking into. I did a tournament last year with a coworker, and it was a bass tournament. I'd never done one like that, and I was instantly hooked. And that's completely changed my mindset. So my whole life I've been a walleye fisherman, and it's been walleye, and the fishery that we were on, it's very tough for bass. They're very finicky. They're not just everywhere, so they're very tough to find and to catch. And that challenge, that just lit a fire. Like I'm really want to get into that and really try to figure that that fishery out. But I'd say the walleye was probably up there for me.
You know, I'd agree with that. When you said the fishing tournaments kind of make you now go, ooh, I should probably start weighing some fish more. Jeremy and the guys give me a hard time because now, you know, one of the things these last couple of years I've been chasing is Nebraska, and I know most states actually have it, like a master angler program. So I've been actually trying to pay more attention to, ooh, I caught that. Okay, that looks pretty big. I should probably measure that. I should probably get a weight on that because that could count towards a master angler, and stuff like that. You know, it's more of a personal challenge of mine. Other than a certificate, it doesn't really get you much, but it's just more of that accomplishment of, okay, the state deems this a top class fish. That's, you know, at least for the state's impressive. But yeah, you know, a 4-pound bass here is nothing, but a 4 or 5 pound bass down south, 4 or 5 pound down south is nothing. Up here, it's like that's a trophy fish.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing. Like, I caught that 4-pounder, and master angler here is 5 pounds, or you can go by length, but I don't hardly ever think about getting the length. So I released it. It could have been that long, but being a pound off, I still think I'm pretty short. So
so Grandpa got you going on fishing, kind of got you into making the baits. What turned the hobbyist into the businessman?
I think really the local shop. So my grandfather passed away probably 4.5 years ago, and I really went away from fishing. So I lost that passion and that drive for a while. It just wasn't the same with him not here. And one of my coworkers, she's like, you know, there's this bait shop opening up, and I think you make good stuff. I think you should really talk to him. And I started messaging him on Facebook, and we finally decided to meet and talk, and just one thing led to another. And once it got kind of serious, I knew it was time to make it official and start a business, and that's where it's gone, and it's just been growing from there.
Gotcha. So what so you're a fairly new business then, in terms of business. You've been making baits a while, but business wise you're fairly new.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So you're rocking the website. You're getting yourself into boxes like the Hendrix Fishing Box, trying to get your brand out there. You're in local stores. What else do you have cooking, or you know, what's kind of, are you happy with where you're at, or what's kind of cooking now? What's the goals for this year?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've been trying to reflect on that actually the last month or two. So really trying to decide if I want to increase the mold capacity that I have, you know, adding more of the same thing, or continue to add to the variety. Right now I've been taking, you know, my money and reinvesting it into different molds and different baits and different sizes and things like that to offer the variety. And a lot of what I'm doing is driven by what we're able to fish with locally. So the bait shop locally, Penn Wild, you know, he's really given me the opportunity to be where I'm at and position where I'm at with those orders. So a lot of times he'd be like, hey, do you think you could do this? And he's just like throwing ideas at me. And I'm like, yeah, I can run with that. So I really want to continue to support him because he's helped me get to where I'm at. And, you know, I don't want to forget that. I want to add a few more bait shops locally, and try to, you know, do a little bit more on the website and get some more traffic there. And I'd love to do a few more boxes with Hendrix. I like what he's doing there. That's a very impressive box. I was blown away by the quality of the product that's in those boxes, and he's got a really good thing going there.
Yeah, it was awesome when I saw you in there. I'm like, okay, this is new, this is different. You know, most of the time you get, you know, you always get a stick worm in a box. You always get some sort of creature bait in the box. Nothing against the guys that we've had in the boxes that do those baits, but also I was like, ooh, a grub. When's the last time I've thrown a curly tail grub? Like I used to throw that all the time growing up. You know, you're talking about fishing with your grandpa. I mean, I grew up trout fishing in Colorado, and we would throw small grubs on jig heads. So when I saw the bigger size, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm excited. It kind of brought me back to my roots of fishing. And like I said, I was fortunate enough. I told you I wanted to wait to tell you till you got live, but yeah, I got out with it. We've got cleaner water right now, which is why I absolutely love this color. I don't know what you call it, but I love it. Oh, it probably says right here. I can't read. That's why.
I'm terrible at that.
That's
I
the
can't,
blue
I
highlight
can't think
also.
of names and stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna go with whatever.
And
But
then you were throwing in, I've got the yellow ones handy right here, the chartreuse color, but you threw in these in a pink. I was throwing actually the brighter pink, and having that little bit of pink go through the grub, the swim capabilities, like I said, even after I had one pike come up and just nip at it kind of thing. Plastic held up beautifully, so I was very impressed there. I love when the plastic quality is top notch, so I didn't have to like necessarily burn through baits. Like I said, the one I lost, that was on me though. We got her to shore, and I went to go reach for her. The line, it was hooked on one side, line ran to the other side, and I watched it bite through the line. But like I said, it was the perfect color for this time of year for, I'm guessing, most of us. I know some people probably have some dirtier color, but with those bright jig heads, I don't see why not. But it was very versatile. I was able to drag bottom, jig it, fast burn it. So it was kind of fun just to get something different. And then, like I said, looking at your site, I got to place an order. I kind of like what you do. I like how you're versatile. You don't really have all, you said adding a few mold stuff. You're not all soft plastics, but you're not also all jigs. You kind of, like you said, tailor it to what works around your area. So it's kind of fun to see how baits that work up, because let's see, what part of the country are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
So, yeah, I mean, you're in a whole different state, different style of fishing, but yet baits that work in your area, how I can use those baits and get fish in my area, maybe the same way or differently. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now I have to ask this. They're probably all your favorites, but out of all the things you make, what is your favorite bait? What's your go-to?
My whole life has been a deer tail jig, but if I couldn't use that as an answer, it's probably a paddle tail.
Okay.
That's what really hooked me into the plastics. So I bought one of those kits from Do It Molds or whatever, and I bought the Ripper mold, the little cheap $30 cast iron mold, and I made some weird looking gray part, and it hammered walleye and perch, and I was like, I'm hooked. This is awesome. So that's what really did it for me, and I feel like the paddle tails have just been really work really well in the river. They work well in the lake. They're pretty versatile, and what you can do with them, there's a lot of options there. You can triple inject, dual inject, using the powders and things like that to get the shine, and like what you have with the blue on that bait. There's a lot of options there. So I do really well for a lot of species on the paddle bait.
So what's your go-to way to rig a paddle? Or I guess what's your couple good go-to ways to rig a paddle?
I usually tip it with a jig head. So with a lot of the current and what we have here, I usually use an 1/8 ounce or a 1/4 ounce at the most.
Okay.
That's usually my go-to. I'll go heavier. I'll do a 1/2 ounce or something if I'm in the lake and I'm fishing deeper water. But our river's typically pretty shallow, so that's the 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce is usually where I'll land. But my favorite, I love jigging. It lets me cover water quicker. So if I'm trying to search for fish, that just allows me to cover a lot more ground a little faster and find some fish that are active.
See, now Jeremy, I hope you're taking notes, because we've got fishing tournaments to win this year, and these are things I don't think other guys are doing. So let's make sure we're taking notes here.
I'm excited because these being heavier, the 1/2 ounce jig heads. I'm really looking forward to taking them to the Missouri River. And up here, our current is extremely fast, but there is nice walleye and saugeye, things like that I really want to target with those. And then if we go up north a little bit, we got smallmouth in the Missouri River, where it's a little cleaner up there and clearer, not so muddy, but definitely interested in trying that on the river with that heavier weight, and even some of the lakes around here to get that down deeper. And especially, I probably would have killed the other day had I had it with me. But I'm like, open water. I just grabbed my 2 rods. I already had stuff on it, and I just went. So, and I lost the lure I caught the fish on. So,
No, I have to ask. You said tipping the jig head. So I got one of your jig heads here. What are you talking about? Literally just kind of like running the mouth of the bait, just kind of like if you were drop shotting it almost?
So I would feed the bait all the way up to the end.
Okay,
Yep.
so sorry. I just wanted to clarify, because like I said, you said tipping it. I'm just like, is he talking about like drop shot rigging this thing? Because if so, that's different.
No.
Okay. No, we're good. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, 'cause if
It's about how I'd run like a underspin.
Yep.
You know,
yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
it's just a jig head with a, you know, blade. You know.
But quickly here, I was looking at chat. I do want to say hello to Tyler over at Hendrix Fishing. He joined in, so howdy. But I was very impressed with your baits. Like I said, I had zero issues. I'm excited to fish them more. That's why I had to pick a few more packs up. What
I appreciate that.
I guess you kind of talked a little bit, but you know, is the future for you big game or staying small game?
I think short term probably staying small game and just kind of seeing what happens. I work a full-time job. I put in, 40, 50 hours a week at my normal job. And then I have a family, I'm married, I have 2 kids. So this is something I do when everybody goes to bed or on a weekend when I have time. So I don't get a lot of downtime. I'm dedicated to family, my job, and this. So I want to see where this goes, and if it does continue to grow, I'm all in, and if not, that's okay too. So I'm just willing to see what happens, and I have the luxury to sit back and just kind of grow with the company if that's what happens, and if it stays where it's at, I'm okay with that too. You know, I just really appreciate the opportunity to learn these things and be involved with a good subscription box like Hendrix and the local bait shops and things like that. So I feel very fortunate.
See, now that's something we gotta get Jeremy over here to do. I love him to death. He paints really good baits, but I just gotta get him to make some leaps every once in a while. But I mean, he even has his nephew who can paint just as well, if not better.
Yeah, I told you.
But no, I think that's why I love companies like yourself, and that's why I think Jeremy and I love doing this podcast is because we get to talk to you guys, and it's always fun to hear how everybody's beginnings in fishing kind of are similar. It's either a grandparent, a parent, a buddy, something like that, really getting them jumping in, and then it was kind of one of those, hey, I can do that. Why don't I just make this bait? Or someone's showing them, hey, I make them, like you said, the bucktail jigs and grandpa. But it's just kind of fun seeing how everybody's views are, I'd rather stay smaller, make good quality stuff, but if I can make it bigger, I'd like to go big league, because we can all admit we love some of those bigger brands. I'm looking at the wall. I've got 6th Sense on the wall. I've got, I got Mega Bass stuff on the wall. I've got Strike King stuff on the wall, but it's a mass-produced product. You can get a handful of baits and they're going to have, imperfections that just don't get caught, where if you're the one making the baits as a smaller company, you're overlooking everything, because you're going, if I let this out the door and it doesn't look good, it's not going to swim good, that's my name. And it's not like you can just write it off, because, well, that's a customer, and for you every customer counts, where all those bigger companies, they can kind of write off, oh, that's just one customer, not a big deal, I got thousands of others. So I love how, that's why I love smaller bait companies. You guys are more attention to detail, and the stuff you guys come up with is just, hey, we're going to do this and see what happens, where a big company is just not willing to just take the risk on, yeah, I'm going to throw these 4 colors in a bait and good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's, this bait for Hendrix, it was different. He's like, throw some stuff together, see what you come up with. And he fell in love with that one. So I'm glad you guys liked it, and it worked well for you.
Ooh, he's saying definitely need you in a box this spring or summer. Okay.
I'm working on some stuff.
And Blind Eye Fishing made a comment, said the grubs are nice. He thinks the jig heads are where it's at. Sorry. Those are sweet, and I'll have them rigged up with. Okay. So basically, once he's out of D&K grubs, he's been using the Z-Man grubs on your jig heads, it looks like. So I was gonna say, yeah, are you pouring all your jig heads? Like, are these in a mold then, or are you buying jig heads and then powder coating them yourselves?
No, I'm melting the lead and pouring them, painting them, and then glue the eyes on, and I actually use a UV resin
Okay.
over top of the eyes, and then I seal that with a UV light to help
Oh.
the eye adhere a little bit longer.
I just noticed that. Like I'm sitting here trying to actually, once you mentioned, I'm trying to like peel the eye off, and I'm like, oh, it's in there.
So I think that's one of the extra steps that's taken that probably very few people are doing to help keep that on, because that paint's not going to chip. So, I mean, you can bang it against the concrete wall and it's probably not going to chip.
Hold on. That sounds like,
for me, it's important.
That sounds like a challenge. I've got
I don't know,
concrete floors here. Okay.
I've had some guys locally say they banged them against some of our bridges and they didn't chip at all. So for me, it was important to, if that's going to hold up, to make sure the eyes are going to stay on there. I mean, you're going to probably lose it on a rock or something like that.
Okay. I absolutely just chucked this thing. And I mean, absolutely just chucked it and then used my foot to drag it back. And if that's all the damage it does, okay, guys, he's not lying. That's not bad at all. Oops, let's see. There we go. Oh, I don't know how to. There we go. Drunk driving. Don't do it, kids. I mean, there's just one little nick. He wasn't kidding. Okay, I'll give him that. I absolutely chucked it. I can still fish with this jig.
I do gotta say that they're super clean on the bait keeper, because a lot of times you get the powder coating or whatever and it's real thick on there. And it's like, what's the point? You know, I've tried doing jigs myself, powder coating. I got a lead pot and everything, and I haven't cracked that code yet. How to get it, where it's nice and smooth. Yeah. But I have airbrush stuff and epoxied them that way too. That's what I do with my ice jigs. So.
Now, I always try to get a little something out of every guest we get on the podcast. Is there anything coming up in the future here that you just haven't announced that maybe you want to leak to us because you like us and we're cool and you just think we're pretty? Maybe not the last part, because I know I ain't pretty. Or anything coming down the pipeline we should be aware of?
I don't really think so. I'm hopefully going to add a few different baits to the lineup, and then might be trying to do some bass streamers or something like that.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Depending on how that goes, I might reach out and see if there's something for the Hendrix box there.
Okay, give us a little tease. I like that. I like that.
Some materials coming in the next few days, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay. And when you say some new baits, are you doing more soft plastic style stuff and also more different style jigs, or just one or the other?
Probably short term, some more soft plastics. But the local bait company downtown looking to maybe have me make some like rooster tails and some things like that. So I might look into that.
Jeremy, he just spoke our language. He just he said our love language with rooster tails. We may or may not have a box full of these guys in there. we go to bass tournaments and get laughed at, but it's all right. I've produced more bass and bigger pike throwing a Meps or a rooster tail than most guys do throwing Texas rigs.
So Justin says, air jigs in the Hendrix box, ? And then that would be fire.
Nice.
I'd be cool with that. And
yeah, I'm good with that.
Or Justin, you could just go over to the website like I'm going to do here later and just get some hair jigs and get some ice jigs for next year. Because I know Justin ice fishes or is trying. I think he admitted he's not having the best year, but I'll be honest, your first year ice fishing, I don't know. Do you get out and ice fish then, since you make the baits then?
I do. I haven't this year with everything going on and family. I just haven't had time to get out. But I've been ice fishing since I was a kid. That's one of the things my grandfather did with me, and it can be challenging, but then it can be super rewarding. So once you kind of figure it out and you find your spots, it could be awesome. And then for me, it's about time with family, friends, whoever you're with. When I go out, we have food and we can just really have a good time. And if we catch fish, awesome. If not, and it's the stories that we're telling and stuff like that. So that's the bigger picture at the end of the day, is that time with your friends. So.
Most definitely. We I think last year Jeremy and I tried a couple of times. We got out with our once or twice, and we had no clue what we were doing. Jeremy actually almost fell in the lake, got a leg wet because we knew better, but yeah, I still told him, you'll be fine. Take another step. Yeah, that ice wasn't too good. Now this year we kind of we took a step back, got focused, and really tried to pay attention to what we were doing and kind of, okay, if we catch fish here during the summer, we know there's bushes, we know there's rock structure here, there, kind of wherever, and we were able to kind of pick apart some lakes. And I don't think we had a day, except the very first day we went out, but that's because it was our first time ever using electronics. I don't think we had a day other than that first day where we didn't catch fish. At least as a group, because that was the other thing is, like you said, it's definitely more fun. I wanted to learn this year was ice fishing as a group, because we got Jeremy out, we got his nephew there, Jordan out, we've got my buddy and his, God, how old was Beckett? 6 years old, and that kid caught a 14-inch crappie. I mean,
nice.
At least I know I had a blast. It was more fun watching everybody else get on fish and have a fun time, like you said, than it was necessarily catching the biggest fish. I was sitting there popping bluegill all day, and I'm like, this is a blast. Keep going. But I am definitely ready for open water season. I can't lie there.
Me too. It's a good time of year.
It's like the cold weather. Ice fishing is fun, but
I don't want to hear it. This kid absolutely killed it. We took him out, and if it wasn't for him, we would have been starving the one day. We decided to go out and do a catch and cook, and if it wasn't for him, we would have starved. He was the only one catching all the bluegill. Now you said you got family, you got some kids. Are the kids old enough yet to go fish with you? Do they like fishing? Is it not their thing? Are they older?
Yeah, they're one's 4, so he likes the idea of it, but still he's getting there.
Gotcha.
And then my other kid just turned 1, so not there yet, but he loves watching me make baits, or likes what I bring in from, and wants to see, like, what'd you make today, or what did you do? And he's super excited, and he's like, oh, I love this. This is my favorite. I want to fish with this one. So he talks like he wants to go. We've gone a couple times. There's a lake north of us here that's loaded with panfish, crappie and bluegill and things like that. So you can go up there and it's a dime a dozen. So, I mean, that's a perfect type of fishing for him. And he enjoys it, but then he's like, hey, let's go play on the playground. So he's got some time yet, but, I think you'll be hooked.
So yep.
I had my grandson out last year. He was 4 last year, and I got him just trying to find it from Walmart. It's just a little collapsible rod, and the line goes through the rod, so you don't have as many areas to tangle up. And he was able to cast it himself, and he got it down, and he was catching some fish, and just put just a little minnow soft plastic on a little tiny 1/8-ounce jig head, and he didn't want any help after he learned that he could do it himself and catch fish. So
that's awesome.
He was hooked.
I was like, I love it. I don't have kids yet. My time will come, but Jeremy will tell you, I've got zero problem. If there's a kid that's out, if we see a kid fishing, hey, here's some baits, or try doing this. What, I'm leaving this spot, have my spot, throw this bait, you'll catch fish. Or even like young Jordan here, it's like, look, if you want to come fish and school work's caught up, everything else is good, grab a rod, hop on the boat, let's go. I'd rather you be out fishing, because there's a lot crazier things you could be doing in life.
Absolutely.
And
it's awesome.
And as you mentioned, you had your grandpa kind of did the same thing for you. He got you out, or he got you out there, showed you things, taught you how to fish. And I swear some of the best life lessons I learned were out on the water with grandpa and dad, and just buddies even.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of learning lessons there, and there's things that I remembered that I've showed my son, and he's like, well, that's awesome. And just, it's funny how things stick, and it just creates a camaraderie with family or friends or whatever. And it's something I'm just really passionate about. So it's exciting to start to share that with my family and watch that start to grow. So it's really cool.
So have you let him into the bait making shop, and has he came up with any fun designs?
Not yet. So a lot of what I did was outside, and finally caved. I was like, I can't be out there all winter. Really, really cold nights, or I'm like, I really need to go out and make baits. And I was trying to make stuff for the subscription box, and it's 10 degrees outside, and it was a struggle. So I finally moved some stuff inside. I'm down in the basement, but he'll come over and see like what I'm working on. But as far as creating stuff, he hasn't gone there yet. He's just really excited to see what I'm doing, and then wanting to take it out in a boat, or like, let's go fish with this. I want to use this one. So he's really excited about what I'm doing, not necessarily like creating his own thing.
That's awesome. I was gonna say, the reason I had to ask is because, you know, like Jeremy mentioned with his grandson, who's also at the same age, he's let him tread into the shop a few times, and I swear the kid's more addicted to painting baits than he is fishing so far. But I almost think some of his patterns are almost better than some of the stuff you can buy. I'm like, he decided those colors? Yep. You just helped him point the gun? Yep. Oh, okay.
Perfect.
They all like to paint.
You want a number one selling bait? Let your son wander into the shop and just pick some colors for you. Sometimes that unbiased eye is almost the better eye to have. You know, my wife, for example, I've mentioned it every time, but I would have never have thrown a purple worm. She walks in the store, picks a purple worm, goes, I want to throw that. Okay, you're throwing it. And she has showed me how many fish you can catch on a purple worm.
How it goes.
But that's also, I think, just because she's my wife and I shouldn't have let her on the boat. If I let her on the boat, she catches more fish. Okay. Bland Eye said he's going to try to do a video this summer using vintage baits, a Daiwa spinning reel, Daiwa Procaster, and a Zebco 33, all on a 5'6" to 6 foot vintage rod. Think it will be a blast. The sad part is he says vintage, and I think if I go into the corner of my garage here, I can actually pull out all that stuff, and it'll still be ready to use.
I think vintage, and I'm going back like Mitchell 300s and like 306s.
Well, the crazy part is, you know, you say vintage, you go back and grab some of those, what they call vintage lures, which I know Jeremy has a handful of, and you grab some of those vintage rods and reels. They were just made better back then.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
a reason why they're still around. You might just need to throw some new hooks on some of the hard baits because, you know, unfortunately the hooks rust and stuff like that. But I got some old Daredevils, some like OG Daredevils. If the blade's fine, you throw a new hook on there, let's go fish.
That's what makes it more challenging. You use the old hooks.
True, until the fish comes off.
That's when you learn your. That's when you learn your hook set. You know, put a little power behind it.
Well, we haven't gotten to 15, and we're almost done with the live. But with the folks we got in here, we got halfway there. I do want to quickly I think we should give away this grab and go pack. What do you think, Jeremy? And it's still sealed. I'm gonna leave it sealed. So someone's gonna get this grab and go pack. There's like three or four things of soft plastics, and I'm even gonna throw in a pack of the grubs because everybody needs those, even if you got the box. So whoever is still in chat, let me get this pulled up here real quick because I finally got this to work, which is beautiful. And let me grab this. Let's go.
I want to tell G.I. Joe that I am current on my tetanus shot. I had to get one a couple years ago when I punched a tree, so I'm good to go.
I had to get mine.
All right. So in chat, if whoever's here, go ahead and type a number between 1 and 10, and I'll give you guys a sec to put the number in. I'm gonna get this pulled up on screen here too, so people can see. I'll hit roll, and we'll see who can win. So I'll give you guys a minute. Like I said, guess the number between 1 and 10. Type it in chat, and someone's gonna walk away with the some of these beautiful grubs, which I hate parting with, but it'll be fun. And a grab and go pack. Oh man, we only got one guy guessing a number. Come on, I know there's a few more of you guys in chat. Somebody else guess a number. Come on.
Jeez, tell the wife to get her stuff out of here.
Don't let Geodora Out Life be the only one.
Yeah.
That man's been slaying it when it comes to giveaways lately. Oh. Oh, Justin, pick another number, buddy. Tyler already got 7.
Our chat just went weird. I got like 2 layers of chat on my TV.
All right, the giveaway started. Retype your numbers. First one to get the right number wins. There we go. So if you typed a number before, retype it.
I'm gonna let you be the judge of who's got the numbers because I got so much stuff going on my screen right now.
Nope, you're good. They're all retyping. I know what the winning number is. No one's guessed it yet. Go ahead and throw another number out. If you're in chat, keep guessing. I can see the winning number.
Oh, I see how this thing works.
Yep.
Okay.
And when someone guesses it, it'll announce them as the winner.
Start going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Someone's going to. Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to catch on and win this. There it is. We got a winner. Blind Eye Fishing. Congratulations. Go ahead and hit me up on Instagram. Let me let me get this pulled back over here. That's fun. I might need to do a little more numbers next time. That was a good time. But
I was not expecting that. That was interesting.
But Blind Eye Fishing, hit me up on Instagram. Part-time fisher, as it says. I learned to point. There we go. It says over here. Hit me up on there. Give me your information. We'll get this shipped out to you. So congratulations. But does Jordan have any questions? You said he came prepared, or did we already ask all his questions?
He read about his grandpa and the bait tying and stuff like that. So
beautiful. Do you have any questions, Jeremy?
We stole his thunder a little bit, but
you're fine. Do you have any further questions while we were asking him? No? Okay. Well, then I've got a couple follow-ups. These are just more fun questions because business-wise, you're killing the game. I'm loving what you're doing. Keep it up. I'm excited to see what other molds and baits you add.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see what colors you can do too. So this will be fun. What fishing goals do you have for this year? Whether it be certain lake to fish or type of fish to catch or a size of a fish, and any life goals this year?
For me, I'm really hoping to expand and make some bigger swim baits, maybe like 6-inch or larger, and then maybe get into some muskies on those, and then I really want to get into fly fishing. I did it when I was a kid, and I got away from it, and I'm actually taking a fly tying class with the bait shop in town and just kind of rekindling that a little bit. And I'd really like to catch a trophy muskie, or I guess any muskie on a fly rod. So I want to tie my own muskie streamers and fish our river down here and try to get a nice pike or muskie on a fly rod. I think that would be a very good a challenge and very rewarding as well. So for me, I'd hope to do that this year.
I was gonna say, if you have any questions or need some help when it comes to fly tying or streamer tying, Jeremy, help me out because I think he changed his name. Is that correct?
Yeah, he changed it because there was one that was very similar, but it's Skeeter Bites Fly Shop. He's actually my neighbor. My wife's related to his wife. We'll have him on the show here. He's in with the Hendrix chat rooms now, and he's going to be doing some feathered trebles for me for upcoming bait in a future box, and it's going to be kind of nice to have a custom painted bait with the custom feathered treble. But we'll get him on. We'll go over some of his flies. I'm trying to get him to do hair jigs too, at least for me, nobody else. But so we got some things in the works that we'll get him involved in. He's pretty knowledgeable with that, and yeah, he's always willing to help somebody out. He's a super down to earth guy. So
appreciate that. I actually saw his page a couple days ago, so he's got some nice stuff on there.
Yeah, like I said,
really taking off.
What you'll find out about the smaller bait community as well as just the smaller fishing community is speak up. We're all here to help. At the end of the day, I'd rather give you a hint, a tip. Jeremy gives me a hard time because I'll share fishing spots and stuff, and I get it. But at the same day, we're all in it just to have some fun. And if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's a really good community. You get on social media platforms, things like that. For the most part, everybody wants to help. You have a couple guys out there, but for the most part, everybody's pretty supportive. Everybody has the same end goal, and it's been nice.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time with us today. I know you were nervous at first to hop on. Everybody usually is, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. Like I said, we don't bite too much. I'm excited to hopefully have you back on later this year. Like I said, I'd be curious to check in with you, see if you were able to get that muskie, see if you did get any of those new products in, and just kind of, see what's going on. Because with the best part with you guys in small businesses is it could change in a day. You could go from a small thing to a big thing just like that. So it'd be fun to kind of check it with you later on. And I hope you stick around for a minute when we end here, and I got a couple things for you. But other than that, I appreciate it. If you have any last words, go ahead and get them out there. I'm not going to put you to death or any, the electric chair, but if you got any last words there for everyone.
I just really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and this was fun, and I'd love to catch up again and talk later in the year. And just thank you. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, guys, before we let him go, please go hit him up. D&K Custom Baits. Hit him up on Instagram. He's got a site as well. Great jig heads, as you guys saw. I chucked that thing on the ground, and it had barely a nick. His soft plastics are very durable, great colors. They're nothing too crazy, but at the same time, they're colors that are going to catch fish for you. So, and if you've never fished a hair jig, go get some of his. You got to learn how to fish them, but man, they will catch fish. And like he said, it's a multi-species bait. So panfish to, like he said, big musky or northerns. So, well, thank you for joining us, Jeremy. I think it's time we'll let him go. And like I said, hopefully get you on in the future with some new stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Woo. I love this. We get to talk with some great people every Wednesday.
For sure.
I hope everybody in chat enjoyed. It looks like we had a bunch of fun this week. I appreciate the guys that were here. Hopefully we can get some more guys. Like I said, I'm going to leave that box there. That box is going to be available next month. So I know we can do it. I don't know who we're going to have next week. I got some ideas. That's a lie. Y'all don't know who we're going to have next week till I announce it. But hopefully you guys stay tuned to the channel. Jeremy and I are going to maybe fish this weekend. And I say maybe. Our weather gets interesting. If we do fish, don't worry. We'll get some video of it. We'll get some photos of it. We got some interesting weather. That's all I got to say about that, really. Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm in trouble if I go fishing again without him. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, I mean,
you're all right.
we're not gonna go fishing. We're going to sit at home and clean. No, that I can't even pull that lie off.
Got to put a line on my 2 new rods of reels. So
there you go. I was gonna say, guys, keep looking on the channel. I actually recorded. I'll be dropping the next couple of days. I did a video kind of showing off what gear I'm throwing this year, what line I'm throwing, everything. So hopefully that'll help some of you guys out in some choices for you for this season. But keep tuned. The content's going to get better and better. And by all means, if you guys ever get questions, leave them down in the comments. We try our best to respond. So until next week, guys, good luck out on the water. And as always, have some fun.
Mm.